So I'm sitting in my car in a cold February day, and I just came out of the coffee shop, which I don't normally go to in the morning, but I had a super big desire for a blueberry fritter. Actually an apple fritter, but when I got in there, the blueberry fritters were twice the size, and I'm no dummy. But while I was in the coffee shop, having my coffee and my donut, I looked over and I saw the quintessential scene I've seen my whole life. And that is the scene with the old men who are solving the problems of the world. Usually a gaggle of 3 to 5 old men talking about everything from politics to the weather to their unsatisfactory marriages to what's wrong with cars today. And they're not so much solving any problems, they're more or less barking at each other. It reminds me of a group of dogs who are sitting there simply barking at the sky. Sort of like, well, you know what the problem of the world today is? Blah, 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 blah. And then another guy goes, whoa, you think that's bad? I gotta blah, 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 blah. And it fills me with a sense of comedy, humor, because I'm aware of the futility of it. But there's also a part of me that says, isn't there something better? Isn't there a way to be better? I'm reminded I was at the gym a couple of weeks ago, and while I was getting dressed after a workout, preparing to go in the pool, 2 young men, half my age, essentially, you know what's wrong with my tenants? Blah, 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 blah. Well, you think you got that bad? Blah, 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 blah. Essentially doing the same situation as these old men. And that is, they put a bushel basket full of shit in between them, and they begin scooping up mounds of it and rubbing it all over themselves, thinking that somehow that's going to make it better. And I said to these young men, after listening to them bark back and forth, I simply said, boys, sitting here hashing out your challenges, while it may seem therapeutic, isn't it actually you simply amplifying and agreeing with how much you don't enjoy those circumstances? Let's try something new. How about the next time you boys get together, you sit around and you talk, or you stand around or sit around, and you talk about the things that you're winning at. You talk about the things that are really going right in your life. You talk about the victories you're having. You talk about how you're making a difference instead of how you're constantly treading water. How much better will you feel when you leave that conversation? Because I kid you not, when you leave this conversation today, I guarantee you don't feel any better, and there's a fairly significant argument that you feel quite a bit worse. Perhaps you have a girlfriend, or a boyfriend, or a friend. We won't mess with genders. Ring. Oh, I just want to tell you how terrible my life is. Really? You think your life is terrible? Oh, I've got a story for you. Oh no, how could it be as bad as mine? You wouldn't believe what so-and-so said. Really? Well, you'll never guess what so-and-so said to me. And on, and on, and on, and on, and on. This could be an exercise. And 1, and 2, and 1, and open your mouth, and let it go. And 1, and 2. Preposterous, isn't it? So, pulling out my camera in my car at -10, seemed appropriate, because I see this happen so much. I've seen it lately. I've seen it my whole life. It's never really been something that I gravitated towards, but make no mistake, I do understand it because I have taken part in it. So the end of this video, this is not going to be a long one. The end of this video is simply, are you agreeing with your problems? Or are you solving them? Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, that's right. The fingers are pointing back at me too. Have a good day, folks.